Girl, listen, I broke off my engagement because of kids. And what I mean is that he wanted kids and I really didn't. If you're wondering how we even got engaged, since we had completely different opinions about wanting kids in our lives, it's because he and I were together since we were in high school. We were high school sweethearts, then became college sweethearts, and then after college, we moved in together. The thing is that I didn't know that I didn't want kids until we moved in together. You see, growing up in a Latino household, kids was an expectation. Like, there was no choice. It never even crossed my mind that there was ever a choice to not be a mom. Never. Like, I never thought about it. I never considered it a choice. It was always like, that's what you do. That's what you're expected to do. That is the next step in life after you guys move in, get married, you have kids, you know, the whole shebang. So I always thought I was gonna be a mom. I thought about what I would pack my kids for lunch. Like, that's how deep in I was. But in college, when I realized that it was an option, I started to think about it more and more. And as the years went by, I really started to fear, honestly, that I didn't want to be a mom. And when I told him about it, he was not okay with it. He always wanted a family. Always. He wanted to basically recreate his childhood and give his kids the things that he never got. And I get it. I always had that mentality too, because we both had grown up in poverty. So we wanted to give our kids what our parents couldn't give us. But when I realized I didn't want kids, that was it for me. I didn't even want to try because I knew what I felt in my heart.
Mm. You know what? Shout out to the content creator, but I honestly don't see anything wrong with what she's saying. I know some people may be like, "Hey, why did she wait so long?" In regards of their relationship going that far, that deep into it, and then all of a sudden she's doing a Uno reverse card saying, "Hey, I don't want kids." But hey, man, I get it. I would have liked for her to kind of go through her reasons on why she didn't want to have a kid or kids. That would have been nice to know. But let me say this, right? There's a lot of people right now opting out of having kids. Right now, I don't have kids, right? And for me personally, it really come down to a multitude of things. But number one, obviously financial, man. I don't want to, like, for me growing up, right? I don't want to be in a position where my kids are starting behind the starting line. They're not even starting at the starting line. They're behind the starting line. And if you really are, really plugged into what's going on in the schools when it comes to, teachers being underpaid, right? Not being able to really pour in to your child. Also, them getting limited resources to the school. They may be great teachers, but because of the school system or the community, they may not have the resources to really pour into your child, right? That's another thing. Another thing is daycare, man. Listen, childcare, daycare is absolutely expensive. It's funny because when I was servicing one of my clients today, she just came back from leave from having her child, and I was like, have you put him in daycare yet? And she was like, nah. She was like, the baby, my baby father has him, and then his mother's gonna pick him up because childcare is $300 a week just for one kid. You see what I'm saying? That's $1,200 a month for one kid. So imagine if you had two kids. And I think she was like, that's like mid tier. That's not even on like the high end or, the super low end. You might can do like 150, 175. But just for, somewhere you feel like your child to be safe and taken care of and learning, 300, I don't think that's bad, but it's still expensive, a week. And and that's just to send them to daycare. They still got it. They still have to eat, right? You still have to, provide medical care. You still have to be able to provide just their everyday needs. So that's another thing. Also, if you have medical, that from coming from your paycheck, that's going into supporting that child. You have clothes, they constantly growing. You have food, you have light bills. They gotta use water, electricity, right? And don't have more than one. Just double that, three, triple that. So I get it, man. But some people like, hey, God got us, what I'm saying, when it comes to having these kids. And my thing is, you may have, if you're in a position where you have a home, right? You have some investments already set aside. you have a good income where basically, I think last time I checked, man, this was years ago, but it was like you at least need like 30 to 50,000 just to support a child. In addition of your household, in addition of investments, in addition of 401k, in addition of insurance, and we know everything's going up, car insurance going up, property tax going up, hell, gas, food, inflation going up, everything's going up. So I get it when people are like, yo, we're going to pause on having kids or we're going to not have kids at all. Because every time I look around, people are like, man, I'm struggling. And what happens is, and really quick to kind of piggyback on the school system thing, what I've noticed is, number one, kids having kids, right? Younger people having kids early. And so they just put them in the system and expect that the teachers are supposed to parent them. I'm not saying the teachers don't have any authority over those children, but them children are wilding out. We see it online every day. Teachers are quitting. They're breaking down. They're stressed because these kids are coming to school with no manners. They can barely read, right? They have no discipline. They no orderly conduct. It's just a shame, man. And then when the teachers try to say, "Hey, parents, we need y'all to step up and help," they're attacking the teachers, saying, "Oh, you treated my child bad. My child is a good child." But like, here's the thing: they working 2-3 jobs or don't have no job right now, so they stressed out. Let's say they working 2 jobs, they come home and they don't have enough energy for the kids because they've been working all day. Now, what happens? They get stressed. The parents, they out of shape, and the kids just run them up. Or they not going outside, they're not in the environment, they're not doing any extra, curricular activities. And it's just a cycle, man. And so I get it, like when people say, look, yo, we we checking out of having kids. So for the young lady here, the content creator, I don't blame her. And again, I'm sure she have her own personal reason that which she didn't express. But I don't blame anybody at this current state of where we are in the economy, just culturally, politically, to say, yo, let me just wait on having kids, right? And I know there's this thing like, oh, especially when I was growing up, you got to have kids early. You're not going to be able to keep up with them. Keep yourself in shape, right? I feel like at this point in my life, when I do decide to have kids, because I'm in shape now, because I have more patience, because I'm smarter, right? I've made the investments. I feel like I'm more prepared to have kids. And because I am take care of myself, I can run around with them. I can actually pour into them more because I'm older and wiser, right? You see what I'm saying? Versus me having kids and now I'm struggling. Now my kid's struggling. Like, it don't make sense to have kids and it put you in a situation. If you're already struggling, why have a child? That's not fair to the child. If you're already in debt, crazy debt, behind the 8 bill, one check away, why would you have a child? And then even on top of that, let's say you make a mistake, right? You have one child, you're like, dang, I messed up on that. But you know what? I learned my lesson. Cool. Why would you go have a second child and you still not even up? And this is what's happening. So not to get too far away, but the point is, I don't blame the young lady for saying, look, I don't want kids. And again, she didn't say the reasons why. And I don't blame the guy saying, look, this is something I always wanted, to build a family. There's nothing wrong with that. Say, all right, at this point, because that's a life choice, right? Having kids is a life choice. It ain't like, hey, we got some furniture together, figure it out. But that's a life choice, man. So them folks at this point saying, look, I needed to break off my engagement because, these just too heavy commitments that we're not aligned with. I totally understand. I have no problem with her breaking it off. Considering they don't have kids. And, it does suck that they put a lot of time in, what she said, since high school, college. I get it. But at the same token, they still young. They're not too far gone. And I have nothing but support for this decision. So with that being said, I hope y'all got a lot of value. Hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video off with someone who may be thinking the same situation about kids, man. With that being said, I appreciate y'all. Much love. Peace.